Welcome to Investors Coffee Shop. We're your host, Brian Harte.
Adam Eltarhoni.
I have been working in the financial industry for over 18 years. I started in New York City and in 2010 expanded my business to Alexandria, Virginia.
For over 25 years, I've been gaming and investing in collectibles. I grew up in Georgia and in 2017 moved to Washington, D.C.
Investors Coffee Shop is for people who want to learn more about investing, make better decisions, create new streams of income.
In each episode, we will discuss investing in art, wine, collectibles, stocks, bonds, real estate, and anything else that may generate a profit.
Join us at Investors Coffee Shop. Welcome back to Investors Coffee Shop. Today we are talking with Chris again from last episode on sports collectibles. Chris, how are you doing?
Great, man. How are you?
Good. Has anything interesting happened since the last time we spoke?
I mean, a lot. There's interesting stuff that happens every day. You know, the news cycle with sports cards is pretty ridiculous, like anything else.
And what about you, Adam? Anything interesting happened to you since the last month?
Not really. I mean, again, as Chris says, there's always something interesting going on in the investing world, though nothing on my end.
Investing in sports collectibles can be an exciting, potential lucrative venture, but that means you need to do your own research. Today, we will be going over pricing, buying, and selling. Do not buy or sell any investment without doing your own research first. So, Chris, let me know, since January, what is the hottest thing that's come to the market, in your opinion?
There's a bit, and I think we touched on this a bit last episode, but there has been a spike in the modern graded PSA 10s. As you know, PSA, the top grading company in the industry, just acquired the second most popular grader in the industry, Sports Card Guarantee, SGC. They're coming under one umbrella, and people are speculating as to what that means for current 10s. As PSA has already gotten stricter on what they're putting a 10 on, people are buying up copies of the PSA 10 significant rookie cards.
They're buying those because it's going to be much harder to get a graded 10 now. So it's easier just to go ahead and buy one that was already graded a 10 because it's less likely it would grade that way in the future. Am I correct?
That's the theory. However, there are people who are going counter that. You know, like in the stock world, I guess you would call it shorting. What they're doing is they are buying, and normally you would true shorting. You would see people, you know, like borrowing to sell or whatever. But what they're doing here is some dealers who don't think it's going to play out like that, particularly Grand Slam Collectibles, which is a large player out of Nashville, Tennessee. They're going, okay, we're buying all these significant rookie cards raw. They say, hey, this is our posted price. This is our buy list price. We want thousands of them. And he's going through and acquiring thousands of Gwynn, Sandberg, Boggs, Ripken rookies, Griffey rookies, ungraded, with the thought that he's going to get it graded and see what 10s he can pop out. So he thinks it's going to go the other way. And people who think that they're going to get stricter are obviously buying the 10s. So the two different strategies, buying a 10 versus creating the 10, is kind of where people are headed.
Well, it seems the market now has so many cards that are graded. It's getting harder to find the raw cards. When I was doing some research on a few different cards that I liked myself, almost everything was graded at this point. It is truly harder for me to find certain things ungraded because I want to speculate, hopefully find that one that hasn't been graded yet, get it graded, and the price spikes because maybe it's a 9 or a 10 or a Gem Mint 10. Since you're a dealer, how is this affecting your business? Is it becoming harder for you to find raw cards, or are you just buying things graded as is and selling them that way?
Well, it's always hard to find. And first off, I don't buy graded cards for investment purposes. I 100% buy the raw card and try to get it graded myself because the value is in your eyeball and your ability to kind of predict what the grading company will do, right? What I will do is if I see something that looks like it can 10 or looks like it's a candidate, I'll just overpay for it and not worry about it. I know that sounds like bad financial advice, but if you're good at spotting it, you can kind of predict a premium grade.
I think when I go to conventions, I feel more comfortable buying the raw ones now because I can see the card, feel and touch it versus buying on eBay where I'm going off a picture that I have no idea what's it going to be or how it's going to be shipped to me when I do get it. And when I'm buying online, I do prefer to buy graded, even though I won't make as much. At least I know what I'm getting when it gets there.
That's exactly right. In person, it is a lot easier. One thing you can do is, and there's a different strategy for buying like stuff that came out years ago versus stuff that's coming out of the packs right now. Like if you're looking at Bowman Chrome releases and you know, hey, this release has been out for a week, you know, they haven't had time to get it graded. So that's when you can scoop up stuff in premium condition that has a shot at getting a 10 without it going through a grader first and getting like a 7 and then cracking out of the case and putting it up on eBay raw. Because that's the worry, right? You say, well, this card was previously graded a 7. They broke it out of the case and sell it. They sold it as raw. But if they haven't had time to do it, then you've got a pretty good indicator that you might have a shot at tinning a card.
I want to take it back to a comment you talked about on our last episode about Fanatics and Nike and the jerseys that are coming out this year. And one, this is investment adjacent because I'm going to ask about what does that do to the value of jerseys pre the Fanatics era. But yeah, what's your thoughts? What happened here? Is it Nike to blame? Is it Fanatics to blame? Is no one to blame? You can give us a little context too about kind of what's going on.
It's a staple of the Michael Rubin business model, where you'll go out and the first thing you'll do when you acquire a company or start a new venture is you'll try to cut the cost down. The jersey fiasco, where you're looking at these major league jerseys and maybe you see a little bit too much, is because they really cut a lot of corners with them. It's not going to affect sports cards, the jersey market, like at all, because you won't be able to see that in the card. But where it does affect is that, that company also owns Topps. They have applied the same cost-cutting strategy to Topps cards. It has affected the quality of the product. So it's going to get harder to get premium condition stuff just because the production standards aren't there. We're just sitting, and there's other stuff at play too. Images just leaked for a brand called Transcendent. Transcendent is like $20,000 a box, and it's very, very highly sought after. One of the box toppers is a 5 autograph cut signatures of the Beatles, all 5 of them. You can see it plain as day in the proof. John Lennon is clearly misspelled on it. Like, it's stuff like that. And like, that's going to hurt the value of that card because what Beatles collector wants, it's misspelled. It's not like you can't go somewhere else to get a John Lennon autograph. Obviously, you want that one because it's on a Topps card. It's stuff like that. And there's all sorts of quality problems on other sets. They put out their flagship run, 2024 Topps Series 1. They had this really cool idea to where, okay, the first card off the line gets a special foil stamp indicating that this is the first major league card that's ever existed of that player. And they stamped it 1 of 1 on the back. Huge, big money cards. However, they forgot to stamp the fronts.
And this goes with 2024 Topps Series 1. With the hobby jumbo box, they're trying to sell it, but they want you to buy the full box so you get all the packs. And if I'm correct, they're trying to say you'll get, 1 autograph card for every box that you buy, 2 relic cards, and a base foil parallel card. When you break those up, what you do with your business, are you selling those packs at a higher premium? I guess the average box is $120, knowing that one of those packs is guaranteed to have that? Or is it not guaranteed and they're just using it as advertisement, like a lottery ticket where it says 1 in 4 wins? But in reality, there's no guarantee if you buy 4 tickets, you're going to win.
Oh, there is a guarantee on those boxes, and it's for the most part extremely accurate as far as they call them hits. The hits they put in a box. There are like some cases that's where it says on average where one box will be missing it and the next box will have an extra. That does happen. Like the process is not infallible. It's probably within like 6 Sigma standards of accuracy. It's very good. Well, I don't know. That's awful strict for the sports card industry, but it's good odds you're going to get those hits. As a retailer of sports cards in a hobby shop, you can sell it by the pack or by the box. It really doesn't matter. Consumers are going to buy it either way. And in those, like the value is really not in the so a jumbo box. What they're really not telling you is that one of those cards is an autograph, and the 2 other hits don't matter because one of them's a basic jersey cards, and one of them is like this Manu relic of just like plastic created nonsense. And the autograph in there is really the only thing that matters. And what I've been telling customers this year is, with this year has a particularly strong rookie class. There's Ellie De La Cruz, there's Jason Dominguez, there's Christian Encarnacion Strand. There's like 6 guys in there that could be frontline major league stars. It's an extremely loaded class. I've been telling people that the jumbo boxes don't make much sense because you're not after the relics. Within a jumbo box, it's going to have one short print card. But the hobby box, which is a lot cheaper, also has one short print card. If you take the same amount of money and apply it to the regular boxes, to the hobby boxes, as you would to the jumbo, over the course of boxes, you're going to get more of those short print cards cheaper. And that's been the strategy I've been advising at least my customers on.
And what's the average cost of a jumbo box versus the hobby box?
But if I look for 2024 Top Series 1 jumbo box from Dave and Adams Card World, a jumbo box is going to be $200, and Dave and Adams has the same. It's half price for the hobby box, so $100.
Let's say you buy the $200 for the box. This year, you're really looking for the potential of the rookie cards because it's going to be an amazing season coming up this year. And that's where the true value is.
Obviously, the hobby boxes are nice because it does guarantee an autograph, and some of those you can get an autographed rookie of Ellie De La Cruz and Jason Dominguez, but the odds aren't good on that either. Like, there's so many different autographs. I would rather chase the short prints. They have these mirror gold short prints in there. They have true borderless. They have a bunch of different, like, really, really rare versions of these cards that sell for a lot of money because it's also their flagship card. Imagine if King Griffey Jr. had a variation of his 89 Upper Deck where he had a different hat on or something. It would be expensive as crap. It's just the way these things go.
Well, how do they verify the signatures at this point? Because if you get a card, it is an autographed card. CGC in the comics world has to be with you when the item is sold, and then they grade it as a signature series card. If you pull one of these autographed cards out of one of the box from Topps 2024 and you send it in for PSA, will it be considered a signature card, or how do they verify that you didn't write that signature on that card?
So PSA looks at the card as a whole, and they trust the Topps certification on it because the back of these cards are printed with a Topps COA on it. So this card was signed in the presence of a Topps representative. PSA says, okay, Topps verified it, so that's what we need. However, there are cases where, like, and this happened in football recently. Anthony Richardson, Florida Gators, Indianapolis Colts, big rookie. He had a group of signed stickers, labels they apply to cards so that they can then manufacture the card and place the stickers on a later date, where the signature just looked different. And it was wildly different. And PSA said, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. We need a minute to verify the signatures. And they started returning them to consumers unauthenticated, which then, made consumers just cry foul and say these Anthony Richardsons are fake. But PSA this is Panini America, in cooperation with Panini America, went to Richardson and were able to verify the integrity of the signatures. So now PSA will grade them based on that research, that they've accepted the signature.
So what sport cards are undervalued or even over kind of corrected at the moment?
I'm looking at guys that had a rough first half, but put it together in the second half last year. A guy that comes to mind is a Boston Red Sox player who struggled with a wrist injury in the first half of the season, in like Tristan Cassis. If you look at his second half of the year last year, it was MVP worthy, his second half. But his first half, he was just sitting there with pretty bad statistics, and he managed to turn it around. I look for cases like that. And I look for rookies coming up getting their first shot. With the unfortunate Wander Franco situation, Tampa's going to have Junior Caminero possibly with an opportunity to come up to the bigs and play. And Junior Caminero is one of the most talented young players in the minors. Him being on a big league roster should improve the value of his cards as well. That would be the two I would look at initially. Although it's surprising because you go, oh, he's a minor leaguer. His card should be really cheap. Nope. I always tell people the anticipation of greatness is better than the realization of greatness in sports cards.
Are minor league cards becoming more and more popular, would you say?
Thing they're not the players in the minor league cards, but if you look at the card, it's got the little first Bowman designation up in the top corner. That's a major league card. He's in a Tampa Bay Rays uniform. It says Tampa Bay on the card. Like they're full on major league card. They're released in a set with other major leaguers, even though the guys just got drafted just got signed out of the Dominican Republic. It's kind of wild. Then years later, when they get their major league call up, they'll have a card with an official major league rookie logo on it, and people will chase that one too.
So I want to go into some of the cheaper cards that may start to pop, or they haven't done as well in the past, but maybe they're going to turn around. One of the first ones I'm thinking about is Derek Jeter's 1993 Topps, number 98. The average price range ungraded is from $10 to $25. This is his rookie card. Do you feel going into 2024 and beyond that Derek Jeter's rookie card should start to rise more in value?
I think it did, but it did not with that card, because that card is printed to such a high volume and engraded at such a high volume. Like you can go on the market and scoop up 100 of those and not affect the market, which is weird. You look at sell walls and stocks and crypto, and the sell wall, I guess, would be the term you guys will be familiar with. It's just so high on that card. There's so many people out there with those cards that would dump them if they started to climb just a little bit. That would kind of kill the momentum. It's just not rare enough. The 93 SP in a premium grade is a different story. When COVID hit and sports cards boomed, that's the one that boomed. Like, obviously, it was a rising tide, so everything rise. But the 93 SP went from, in premium condition, it went up to $1 million. It's back down now. It would have been you'd have gotten, as one of my favorite YouTubers says, taken out on a stretcher if you would have invested in it back then.
So I'm going to shift gears on the next player, Mr. Showtime himself. So Shohei Ohtani's 2018 Bowman, number 49, and Topps number 700. It looks like the PSA 10 on average is $110 for gem mint and then $30 for ungraded. Is this a good deal?
It is. I think Shohei Ohtani is a very important player, and I think he's going to get more important as his career goes. I think Shohei Ohtani eventually going to be a generation-defining player. However, I really think the play on him is to go with the more expensive numbered stuff. We're seeing a pushback on cheaper stuff because for the cheaper stuff to spike, you have to have mass adoption and mass participation in the market to really push. Because there's more of the cards than there are people looking for the cards. But for the more expensive stuff, that ceases to be the case. What I would do with Shohei Ohtani, I would look for the numbered parallels of the Bowman and Topps Chrome stuff. The Topps Chrome update, like he's got a gold refractor numbered to, I think, 1,998, and that seems like a lot, but at any given time, there's only going to be 100 or so of them on the market at any time. That would be more of the card I would look for. Gold's the black, especially if you can afford a black. Go for a black. Black's like 5,000, something like that, because you're competing internationally with this stuff.
This is going a little off topic, but Momika Tanaka, his wife, basketball player, if she has a basketball card, are people going to do anything about this? Is this creating a mini kind of like a mini Taylor Swift effect of like people want to collect her card now because they really like him?
So I haven't seen anybody Travis Kelce her yet, but
okay.
It's coming. Because Fanatics is going to do this with Taylor Swift, by the way. There's going to be Taylor Swift autograph cards come out soon with Fanatics. They, unlike Topps, are very forward-thinking of this, and they're probably going to find some way to include her in cards. Like, they're not going to miss this opportunity.
Yeah. So there might be a future if you can catch some of these Mimiko cards early.
Well, once you get the Taylor Swift card, I want to buy it from you directly. You call nobody else. You just call me directly. I'm going to put it in my office.
Yeah, I don't open stuff. Like, my customers would, but like, my time to open stuff has passed. You remember, if back in the day, Adam would see me in the shop just doing nothing but ripping, but those days are gone.
yeah, you're doing the better route for sure. Well, okay, we're gonna go back in time again one more time. Ken Griffey Jr., 1989. Now you mentioned Upper Deck, but what about Donruss 33 and Fleer 548?
Those seem to be making a comeback, at least what I'm looking on sales. And I want to know, why are they making a comeback?
They're making a comeback because the PSA 10 is more difficult now than ever going forward. So the demand is always going to fluctuate, but that supply is going to tighten and has tightened because they're just not producing new ones. Like PSA is strict about the grading on them. So
Okay, but they did produce, I think, close to 1 million copies of those cards. To me, that's just not a short supply, no matter how you look at it. So there's got to be something more to it. Is it a nostalgia thing? People my age are like, oh, I remember that as a kid. But there's just so many out there. I looked at how many were graded. There are tons. There's no shortage of it.
So you're right in that there's no shortage of the specific card. But I'm just looking at the pop report right now. I don't know what this is going to say, but let's King Griffey Jr. in a 10 of 44,000 graded, they've given 1,990 of them the 10 mark. It is hitting the Donners for those black borders is tough, but irregardless of those 1991 is going to be harder than 1990 was. So they're getting harder. The demand is there. The demand, at least in public perception, will always be there, but the supply is tightening.
I get that. And there's a lot of people who threw those away because they were upset once they found out how many were printed, and they thought they had a collection, and then they crashed in value, I would imagine.
I love that card, the $90 Griffey. I don't care what it's worth. It's just a card I love, and $89, yeah.
Well, that's what I think is happening now. People remember that card and they're like, oh, I remember I tossed it out. I'm going to go online and buy it. But I just saw the influx of buying from January to now. That is one of the fastest selling cards right now that I see on eBay, is the Donruss version. Now going on, Corbin Carroll's Bowman 2023. That's last year. The refractor card. It's not expensive yet. $5 to $10 ungraded. It's his rookie card. $35 to $40 graded at a 10 Diamondbacks. Do you think this is something investable to buy now, since it's still new? It's relatively coming out. Everything's gonna be graded 10 at this point because there's nothing. They're brand new.
Actually, it's still pretty tough.
It is.
Yeah, it is. It is out of the pack. They're damaged. Like it's even hard to get a 10 out of the pack. Like my game in retailing sports cards is to take low end refractors, buy them cheap, buy them raw, get them in a graded slab and sell them that way. So I'm taking $5 for the card, and I'm taking $17 in grading fees and trying to flip that into $50 for the sale. And I'm seeing about a 70% gem rate on those, and that's with the cards that I think are good enough to send in. So of the ones that don't 10, they 9, and a 9's a break-even proposition. In other words, you're going to sell a 9 for the $23 you have in it, and you're going to make your money on the 10s. So that's about what I'm seeing with that card. And I think it's a very good idea to buy those in bulk and sell them to PSA. Obviously, if I didn't think it wouldn't be what I'm doing. And he's one of the players I'm doing it with right now. Him, Gunnar Henderson, Michael Harris, and Adley Rutschman. I'm doing it with all three of those guys.
So with Corbin, should I buy them graded already and just get that gem mint now? And $40 isn't that much, considering grading is $25 plus shipping. It is kind of what the cost is to get it graded. Or should I just load up on a bunch of $5, $10 ungraded cards, sit on it for a few years, and then send them off to get graded and see what happens?
Well, I mean, grading, you can get down to 17, depending on how you submit. If you can get it down to there, I think it's a very good idea to buy them raw. Be careful about what you buy, and then be even more careful about what you actually end up sending to PSA. Granted, the model of buying them already graded and sitting on them is fine too. I think the cap on that card is like 80 to $100. Corbin Carroll is a little trickier because who really sees the Arizona Diamondbacks going deep in the postseason a lot of years? Like, yeah, it happened last year, but it's going to be 5 years before it happens again. Who knows even what team he's going to be on when it happens again? People are moving via free agency more than they ever have now. So
Up Juan Soto. So in 2016, his Bowman Chrome Auto Prospect card. This is an expensive card. This is when he was in the Nationals before he was sent off to the Yankees. Graded, that goes for $1,500 on average, and ungraded, it's pretty close to graded value. It's $1,100. In your opinion, with Juan Soto, should that be a card I pick up today, or should I wait for that to drop in value?
I don't know that Juan Soto has a lot of elasticity built into him because the speculation, like Juan Soto is dangerous because the expectations are so high. I'm not saying it can't pay off, but I'm saying for it to pay off, Juan Soto would have to be Tony Gwynn with power because that's the expectation for him to maintain those prices. That's what's going to happen. He's going to have to be a generational player, and he might be that. But like, I think it's safer going with guys that maybe aren't as established as Juan Soto. I actually think you're too late on Juan Soto. I would rather get in on a guy like Matt Shaw of the Cubs, which is the guy that you're probably just not hearing the name for the first time. But he's a minor leaguer with the Cubs who's seen a lot of early success. And with him, you don't have to bet on major league success. You have to bet on the anticipation of major league success, which is a lot easier to do. And guys like, I'll just throw out a few names. Matt Shaw, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Mayer, also of the Boston Red Sox, younger baseball prospects who, regardless of major league performance, are going to get talked up both by their organizations and both by publications like Baseball America and other evaluators. You're going to hear scouts gush over them. It's a lot easier to get that than it is major league success. So that's definitely where I put my money as opposed to like a Juan Soto.
With the Tony Gwynn 1983 Topps 482, there was a spike in sales on eBay. Now, the average graded price is $200. You can get one ungraded right around roughly $40. You had recommended to me I could buy the whole set, just pull that card out, and that would be the investment. Without buying the set, let's just say I want to go buy that card directly. Would you say I'm too late now, or is it still a good time to invest in Tony Gwynn?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't buy the PSA 10s. I would still look for the card raw, and you can still find them raw. There are dealers that philosophically don't agree with grading, and unless one thing I do as somebody who maybe has a little bit more time to put into this, because this is what I do for a living. I know those dealers, and I know when I go to their table what their table is. So I'll go up and I'll flip through their raw cards all day. And you got to get to the shows pretty early to do this because there's a lot of people competing for those cards. Just buy it for sticker. Don't haggle. If you think you can grade it, well, keep in mind if you get a 9, you've won like big time with a 9 right now. So with that card, buying it raw, a 9's a win. Whereas buying a 2023 refractor of Corbin Carroll, a 9 is not a win.
And let's go a little bit further. Let's go 3 years. 1986. Topps traded, number 11, the famous Barry Bonds. I've noticed there's been a big spike recently on Barry Bonds. The average price, and I'm not going to do graded, I'm just going to go with raw, is about $15 on average, and that's his rookie card. What's your feelings on that card?
Well, eventually there's going to be a time when people stop being irrational about steroid use. I think that's when you mention the Barry Bonds market, you have to mention steroids because that's the whole cloud hanging above him. Actually, I made the comment the other day. If Barry Bonds would have hit 713 homers, you wouldn't hear all this stuff about steroids with Barry Bonds. People are offended, particularly at Bonds, well, for a few reasons. Number one, he was a cancer to the media, so the media has just raked him over the coals for years. And he broke some pretty important records with the help of steroids. These are facts. These are things that happen. Barry Bonds absolutely was juicing. Don't sue me, Barry. You know it's true.
But that's the same with Jose Canseco, Darryl Strawberry, and all these other great players back then. So should this be a time where we start loading up on Daryl Strawberry and Jose Canseco as well too?
No, Barry Bonds broke the record. Barry Bonds, if you look at statistics, particularly about wins above replacement players, Barry Bonds sits in between like Babe Ruth and Cy Young. So Babe Ruth, he's above Willie Mays in that statistic. That's why he draws more hate, because he had a level of success that people will argue throws off and diminishes the success of other players, which is not true. It's a ridiculous argument people make it all the time. You can't really compare players across eras like that. But they'll try, and they get offended at Barry Bonds, and they trash Barry Bonds because he broke records with steroids. It's not that he took them; it's that he took them and broke records.
Do you have a favorite Barry Bonds card?
It's not the tops traded. It's probably the 87 Fleer for me, because remember the tops traded, their update sets. It has an XRC designation. Although the lines are so blurred right now, it doesn't really matter. I would typically stick to rare 90s inserts and autographs of Barry Bonds opposed to the rookie cards, because the rookie cards are printed in mass, and there are room for graded copies of those to spike, but we've talked about how difficult it is to get those in PSA 10. It's near impossible right now. But if you stick to the rare inserts that Playoff put out back in the day, the Donruss Company, DLP, if you stick to autographs, like certified on-card pack-pulled autographs of Barry Bonds that are actually rare, I think you would come out better than trying to tin some of his rookie cards. It's just impossible.
For our next one, we're going to switch sports a little bit, and Ryan and I are up here in the DC area, so we're going to talk about Lamar Jackson, our Ravens quarterback. Now, his 2018 Panini Prism, number 212, PSA 10 is $300 to $400, and then ungraded is about $100 and up. What are your thoughts?
It's from a set that is easier to tin. Like 2018 Prism is easier to tin. Like, if I see him raw in good shape, I'll snag him up and try to tin him. Like, Lamar's issue is his style of play typically gets hammered in the NFL because it's hard to do over a long period of time. You get banged up when you run as much as he does. I do think his game is kind of evolving nicely to a more of a pocket passer. I do think he's a capable pocket passer. So was like Donovan McNabb. The NFL market is all about the Super Bowl, right? It's like when you talk about the value of a quarterback, and NFL has become quarterback only, which is in cards, which I really hate. When you look at Lamar Jackson, you think, well, can the Ravens win a Super Bowl? And the answer is maybe. Can Lamar Jackson break passing records? I think the answer to that is no. So you really have to consider those two things. And can he stay healthy long term? I think the answer is maybe. And maybe has a certain price tag attached to it. That's why Joe Burrow is more expensive than Lamar Jackson a lot of the time.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think the answer to the question with Joe Burrow is probably. Can he stay healthy? Probably, although he's had some bad luck his first few seasons. But can he win a Super Bowl? Probably. Can he break passing records of some sort? Probably. Can Joe Burrow be considered the best pocket passer of his era? Probably. Looks like it right now to me. We'll see.
Okay. Well, speaking of football, so let's go to Eli Manning, 2004 Topps Chrome, number 205. He is 350 graded, and then about 70 ungraded and up. And according to our last search, only 132 cards are graded with the gem meant for Eli.
Eli's problem is that Tom Brady exists, but it's also a benefit for him because he beat Tom Brady. And if you take Eli out of the NFL, Tom Brady just looks even more ridiculous because Eli took 2 titles away from him. But, I think a lot of people look at Eli as a game manager, which is ridiculous as that sounds. That's the perception when you start talking. There was a panel at the Mint Collective last year where they talked about GOATs. They said, hey, this should be all you're focused on is GOATs in the overall sphere of NFL quarterback, because each era can have its own defined GOAT. I think Eli Manning falls short of that. So his upside is limited. Like, I would never I don't see anything that's ever going to make people flock to Eli Manning cards more than they already do. He'll have some marketability because of the New York Giants.
was going to say, I do like the fact that there's not 1,000 plus graded gem mint. That low number in the hundreds, that does make me have a warmer feeling inside if I were to invest in this, knowing if I had a gem mint 10, that there weren't thousands of them out there. And he's still a big name, whether Tom Brady kind of overshadows him or not.
Very big name. That Manning name is worth something. And the reason you don't see a lot of gem mints is because they just didn't make as many cards as they do now. Like the sports card market was about a fifth of the size it is now back then. They're just printing more stuff because they're printing more sets now.
Well, going into 1997, Topps Chrome, Chauncey Billups, the refractor rookie card, number 181. Basketball, so we're switching sports here on the Celtics. The high chance of him being inducted into the Hall of Fame coming up this year. And what I noticed, there was only 14 graded PSA 9s and only one, and that's it, one PSA 10. And the average cost now is about $200 for a PSA 9. It's hard to judge a 10 because there's only one out there, so I don't know what that cost would be. In your opinion, how would you handle this card if you owned it, or should I be looking to acquire it?
So, like with a guy like, okay, so there are two different types of Hall of Fame induction. There's expected, well, three actually. There's expected, speculated, and unexpected. Chauncey Billups would fall into that, and it's kind of in between the unexpected and speculative, right? You would look at him and go, "Oh crap, he's going to make the Hall of Fame," and their cachet does improve when they make the Hall of Fame. However, it doesn't affect the market at all if it's a situation where no crap, that guy's a Hall of Famer. It was already priced in. So you have to figure out, is the Hall of Fame already priced in? And I don't think it is for Chauncey Billups. So I do think there are going to be some opportunities there on Chauncey Billups. How much it is, time will tell, though.
Do you know off the top of your head what one of those cards, for that card itself, number 181, cost ungraded?
Looks like about $10, $11. No?
All right, so the return on investment, if the 9 is going for 200, you could buy 10 or 12 of those for $10 each. That would be worth itself to send all those in. And just getting a few 9s, you would pay off that investment. And if you got lucky enough to get a 10, then that would pay off everything.
It is a tough card. It really is. Topps Chrome had a lot of roller marks on it back then. They're very picky about that set. Remember, that's also Kobe Bryant's rookie run. That's the year before. Kobe. Can't believe I'm forgetting this.
Kobe was a small player, so it's understandable.
Yeah, Kobe was a year earlier in the 96, 97. Oh, no, that's the same year. There's so many of these cards. Nobody can have it all in their head. You know, we all have to look stuff up. But like the standard on that card is insane for a 10. It's a lot harder than anyone realizes. No, it is a year later. But it's the same. It's the same printing standards. It's the same printing standards a year later. So there's roller marks, there's centering. It is a square bordered card. So if it's a little bit off center, it's going to be very easy to see. Let me check the pop report. I didn't know you were going to ask about this one. Chauncey Billups. Yeah, no one's ever like you brought the name Chauncey Billups. I'm like, wow, who talks about Chauncey Billups?
We do.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. That card does not have a whole lot submitted, and it looks like the most popular grade is a 9. So yeah, this is a go for it.
That's what I was thinking when I did research and I was looking at it, and when I compared all the numbers, I was like, this can't be real. I mean, 1997 isn't that long ago, and I know about the roller marks, and I know how hard, everything you said, I get that. But to only have one, that's it, when a lot of these in 1997 are a few hundred plus in the Gem Mint 10s, that's incredible to me. That means I need to find these cards and send as many as possible to get graded.
Let's see. Chauncey Billups Topps Chrome rookie PSA. Let's look in the sold. Not what people are asking. Yeah, you do lose at a PSA 8. Last PSA 8 went for $8.
Yeah, it's 9 or higher. That's what I saw. It's you need that PSA 9 or higher.
The most popular grade is a 9, but that's with people screening the cards. And that's what you have to remember about pop report. That doesn't mean that you can go buy 100 of these and your math will equal what the pop report says, because that's with people declaring this card is worthy of a 10. I think it can 10, therefore I'm going to send it. And after that screening, 48 of 10, 172 of 9, to 94 of 8 have aided. That seems to suggest that if you know what you're looking at, you're going to get a lot of nines. And the nines sell for about $50. They can. Some of them went from 25 to 50. So even at a 9, you're looking at break even unless the Hall of Fame bumps him. You're sure he's going to make the Hall of Fame, or because I don't really follow basketball Hall of Fame that closely because their Hall of Fame is different. Remember, it's not an NBA Hall of Fame; it's a basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's basketball, so it's a chance that he'll be inducted. It's not guaranteed yet. So it's not none of these people I'm coming up with are guaranteed, or the price would have already bounced up because that's known information. So everything I'm doing is speculation. So if he is inducted into the Hall of Fame, I would expect this to do extremely well. If he's not, and then that's the speculation part, then it does nothing. So looking at other ones, in 2002, Julius Peppers. We're going to go to football now. Topps Chrome number 214, football Carolina Panthers. This card is on average about, I've seen them go as high as $60 ungraded. I did find one that was sold for a PSA 10 for $700. So that's a huge price gap. And when I looked up on PSA how many have been graded at 10, it was less than 40 copies. Let me know your opinions on Julius Peppers Chrome number 214 card.
Near impossible card to 10. Really hard. You're going to get a lot of 9s. You're going to get a lot of 8s if you start submitting those. Without it being a quarterback, that's where all the focus is right now. A guy like Peppers does have superlatives. He is looked at one of the best pass rushers of all time. Me personally, I would think there are better places to put that money. I would rather buy Anthony Richardson any day than Julius Peppers, because Richardson you can get a couple of weeks of good performance and sell the cards. But that's more retailing, not investing. I know this is an investor show. The truth is that retailing is far better than investing in sports cards. But there can be some good plays there with Peppers. I just think the return doesn't merit the risk.
We'll mark that as an avoid. And then, so we'll go to the next one. A 2017 Topps Chrome Refractor, Aaron Judge, the catcher rookie card, number 169. I know he was injured, but he was an amazing player. The price has come down quite a bit. I know in the high, I think a year or two ago, was at $500, and it's come down quite a bit. I think the average now is about 250 PSA 10. What's your opinion on him? Do you think he can come back?
I think there's always going to be a market for Aaron Judge because of the pinstripes and because of his presence. I don't see Aaron Judge falling off a cliff. I think when healthy, his numbers are what they are. So over the years with Aaron Judge, I've done pretty well by buying the injury and selling the performance. So I've been in and out of Aaron Judge like more times than I can count because he is so volatile depending on his on-field status. Yeah, buying the injury is as long as it's not like a threatening injury, like a shoulder injury for a pitcher. It used to be an elbow injury for a pitcher with a definite elbow. With bionic sleeve and investments and improvements in Tommy John surgery, that's no longer the case. But nowadays you just don't buy pitchers because all pitchers are meat in baseball right now. Pitchers just get lit up. Even the elite ones get lit up now. You're looking at a hitter, another Yankee that's similar. It's a crowded outfield, but a guy like Jason Dominguez, who had a UCL, who came up and got off to a hot start, but had a UCL injury where he needed Tommy John surgery. Well, now he's through that, and the market will adjust when he comes back to the field. So I think that's probably a better buy than Judge. Although if you get an opportunity on Judge, I wouldn't pass it up. Keep in mind that baseball cards differ from the stock market in that there's not an established price for the card. There's no one out there going, this share of Tesla is worth this. It's, hey, this guy might be selling this thing for less. There's discounts to be had. If you buy in volume, this guy's just looking to dump. He's looking to get out. So there are buying opportunities. Some guys you can haggle down. So it's a little different in that respect. If you can get a good deal on Aaron Judge, I definitely don't pass those up.
And I do think you brought him up the last podcast we did because of his injury, and you looked for players who have been hurt that you think can bounce back versus people. I just remember on the last episode, if people are interested, listen to the last episode where Chris does discuss this in full detail. So I know there's a market for it, and that's why I went and looked up his cards just for this episode today, so we can talk briefly on that.
Well, how about this person, Mr. Brock Purdy, 2022 rookie card number 353 from the Panini Prism.
I like Brock Purdy. His stuff is already so expensive, though. Like, he's got Moxie.
Yeah, see at PSA 10, we're still looking around $700 and up, and then $90 for ungraded. So looks like he hasn't plateaued yet, right? Does this keep going up?
Well, there's no way I'm touching a Brock Purdy base card. Like, they're already selling with Lamar Jackson, right? And he's not as talented as Lamar Jackson. I don't think. I think he's in a better situation than Lamar Jackson. I think he's got a better formula for long-term health than Lamar Jackson. But, like, I'm not paying future MVP or previous MVP prices for Brock Purdy just because, he's the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. I do like the kid, but I would get in on some of his higher stuff if the opportunity came up, if I found somebody selling below market, which happens way more often than you would think in sports cards. There's always somebody selling below market. Like, they'll be on auxiliary marketplaces like Facebook or saying, hey, I need to raise money for X, I'll take 80% of the comp. Well, sure, Brock Purdy, 80% of comp, I'll take that all day. But I'm not going out and hitting buy it now for Brock Purdy, and definitely not as a Prism rookie. You're asking to get taken out on a stretcher if you do that.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. What about another 49er, Christian McCaffrey, 2017 Panini Prism, number 249?
I think McCaffrey's an important player as well, but again, not a quarterback, and quarterbacks are the one that get all the credit and all the blame.
Yeah, so, and kind of to go to your point, so you said the market's kind of turned to just a quarterback market. That's kind of the facts now, right? Is there any, I guess, avoiding that? Or is there any way back?
You'll see spikes like Justin Jefferson, some of these receivers, you'll see spikes. But it's nothing like what you see with quarterbacks. You have to like it. If you have the mindset and I want to invest in non-quarterbacks, you have to buy 3 copies to get the same result as you do with 1 copy of the quarterback.
I guess this brings up kind of my next question, which is recent news as of today's recording. Aaron Donald, Rams player, just announced retirement, but he's not a quarterback. Is there any investment there? Is there any way to make money off of kind of this recent news? Or does do retirement announcements even make a difference?
No, they don't make a difference. It does push up his Hall of Fame eligibility, but a guy like Aaron Donald, everybody knows he's going to be a Hall of Famer. So it's already priced in. You may see like his reputation rise post-retirement as a result of the news cycle of people talking about Aaron Donald. But like I don't expect like the sell through may go up, but the price probably won't.
Okay. So it's kind of like a day trading thing where you just catch it in the flash in the pan and then move on by next week.
Yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, he's an important player, but like non-quarterback, historically great edge rusher. Oftentimes it just doesn't matter in sports cards.
Well, I want to take it to our next card 4 times. So going to basketball. The 1998 Topps Chrome Vince Carter rookie, number 199, $30 ungraded, $200 graded 10. Another one that, is eligible for Hall of Fame, but not confirmed yet. Do you have any thoughts about Vince?
What could have been were not for injuries. Like I lived through and remember Vince Sandy well. But no, I don't think he had the longevity that's gonna result in any price spikes on him. I like a Hall of Fame will be cool for him if it happens. But like in basketball, you're compared to the greats, and the bar in basketball is very high. The bar is Michael Jordan, and everybody else fits along the spectrum there. Right now, all the attention and really all the money in basketball is focused on three players. It's focused on Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Victor Wembanyama. I don't know if you were going to ask about Wembanyama, but Wembanyama is the current golden boy, soaking up literally all the money in new product. I mean, when you're opening this new product, you're pretty much looking for Wembanyama or bust.
Yeah, the wingspan alone, yeah, I can imagine. So he is the hot basketball. Is he the hot sports card overall right now?
Yes, very much so. Like it's so different. Like I was explaining to my wife, don't you remember my wife, Delana? I showed her one of his cards. She says, that is Photoshop. That is not a real person. I had to turn the TV on and show her the basketball game to make her believe that was a real person. Her comment was, no, they ripped that guy out of the Monstars from the Bugs Bunny basketball stuff. Yeah, like she just would not believe he was real. That's how different Wembanyama is. But he is real, and he's very good. Oh my God. Like, he is, for all the hype around him, I think he's over delivered.
Oh, but there's a lot of hype. I mean, he's constantly being talked about. And a lot of the people I chose today in the cards I did research, I was trying to avoid the most obvious ones because everybody knows about Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And if you're really interested, you can find that yourself. They're all over the place. So I was trying to find a little bit more of the off the wall big names, but things you may not be thinking about.
Yeah.
So going in, this card, I think, in my own opinion, and I could be wrong, so I want to hear your thoughts on it. Jalen Brunson, 2018 Panini Prism, the silver rookie card. Basketball player, $50 ungraded is what I've seen, an average price, and $150 to as high as $250 graded. I feel it's undervalued. What's your opinions on this one?
So I got a customer that's really into Jalen Brunson. A guy named Michael Beck, big time Knicks fan. Jalen is the leader of that franchise, and his cards are going to rise and fall with the playoff success of the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks aren't set up this year, but they retooled their entire org with OG coming into the mix. They got tougher, and if you look at the win-loss record, they got more competitive. I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a playoff run, and when that happens, Jalen Brunson cards are absolutely going to spike. They spiked before when he came out as a solid number two to Luka in Dallas. Although Dallas really couldn't make the playoff with that roster, but well, they couldn't do anything in the playoffs once they got there. Everybody makes the playoffs in basketball, it seems.
Not the Wizards this year.
Well, the Wizards are different. They're trying to. For a long time, they tried to like hinge their entire program on Bradley Beal, and that's just.
No, I prefer not to talk about the Wizards. It's my local team, and they don't represent us too well. All right, and in 2002, Bowman Chrome autographed Joe Moore rookie card from the Twins.
Underrated. Joe Mauer, like if people look at his stats and they go, "What? I don't see anything special." Joe Mauer was catcher. I think over time, people will appreciate Joe Mauer more. They'll appreciate Buster Posey more. Like catchers are rare. Catchers that can hit and play excellent defense are rare. I'm not talking about the Mike Piazza style where you sacrifice a little bit on defense. These are defensive captains, man. These are guys who made a difference on both sides. And I think over time the public perception of those guys goes up. And that's the Mauers, the Posies, even the Yadier Molinas in some way. Even though Yadier wasn't as brilliant offensively as Posey or Mauer was, he was good, definitely good. And he might be the best defensive catcher of all time. I look at some of these guys as Pudge Rodriguez without steroids. That's his big problem. Everybody knows he was a roider.
This one will be one of my last cards. We're going to ask a few more questions after this, but straight cards for investing. Adrian Beltre, 1997 Bowman Chrome, number 182, his rookie Dodgers card. People are saying he may get in the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2024. I mean, the average cost I can see is about $400 for him. What's your opinions on him?
You may see a short-term spike, so if you want to have them ready, I don't think it's a bad play, but it'll be short-lived because no one's ever been excited about Adrian Beltre cards. But I don't know if the perception will ever catch up there. I would avoid them unless I already had them or could get them graded and in the right position to take advantage of the short pop.
Right, and then I'm going to ask you. We're going to skip the players in a moment. I want to go with the brands and the packs themselves going into 2024. We already talked about Top, so I'm not going to bring that up. Prism versus Donruss. Where should I be buying?
Well, I would never speculate on the Donruss brand. Prism and Donruss is the same manufacturer as all Panini America. The Prisms have the reputation and have the lineage and the parallels to go with it. Donruss has parallels as well, but their foil, their Pringle foil board, which the market kind of doesn't really get too jazzed about, whereas the Prism are on chrome stock, and people have accepted the parallels of the Prism already as investor class cards, and they've been a lot slower on the Donruss to do that. It's a matter of what the buyers have already accepted as a whole, which would be why I would stick with Prism and ignore Donruss to a certain extent. And this year the packs are iffy because the Fanatics company has Victor Wembanyama on an exclusive autograph deal. So you can't even hit Victor Wembanyama in either of those products as an autograph. You can hit him as a base card, but no autographs, which is really going to affect the market on Wembanyama cards. It's going to push up the Prism non-autographs. So we've already seen it happen with C.J. Stroud in football. Because C.J. Stroud is in a similar position. He's not going to have Prism autographs either. Really an interesting market.
Well, Chris, and this will be our last question for the evening. What cards have you seen that just don't stop going up in value? They don't seem to have a top. Which cards have you seen doing that?
Premium grade 7 and above vintage Mickey Mantle. There's no ceiling.
I would like to thank Chris Gilmore for speaking with us today. What is the best way for people to reach out to you and learn more about sport collectibles?
Well, I'm with a company called Vintage Breaks right now. You can reach us at vintagebreaks.com, and we're live 7 days a week at youtube.com/vintage breaks. If you see me in the top hand corner, say hi and say you heard about me here.
Thank you for listening.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe, like, and leave us a review.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter.
We will see you next time at Investors Coffee Shop.